sir.
Good morning. Let us start. Today we are going to discuss a new unit, that is unit number 4, decision theory. Now, uh, basically, what is the decision? In real life, every day we must take decisions. In fact, every person is taking a decision, right from illiterate farmer to CEO of multinational company. Now, decision making, let it be any business, decision making is the most important task in front of a manager. The decisions taken by the manager has a large impact on the businesses, right? So basically, decision making involves selection of best suitable course of action amongst the available courses of action. For example, if an investor want to invest his amount, uh, and he may have different alternatives available in front of him. He may invest his amount in stocks, or he may invest his amount in money market through mutual funds, or he may purchase bonds. Right. So these are three different courses of action. Here I'm considering only three options. One is stocks, second is mutual fund, and third is bonds. Okay. These are the three different available courses of action, and out of these three, he may choose any one. So suppose he decided to invest his amount in stocks. Okay, so that is his decision, right? So basically, decision is what? Decision is selection of best suitable course of action amongst the available courses of actions, right? Now, decision theory deals with the methods of determining the optimal course of action when several alternatives are available. Okay. And the consequences of the alternatives cannot be forecasted in advance with certainty. Okay. For example, it would be a wise decision to invest in stocks if the economy is fast growing. Okay. If economy is uh, negatively growing, or contracting, in case of contracting economy, it would be a worse decision to invest in the stocks. Okay, so in case of contracting economy, if we invest in bonds, then it may generate some positive return, while stocks may generate negative returns. Okay, so the decision is largely the outcome or consequences of decisions are largely depend on the uh, events that are going to happen. For example, in future we cannot predict whether economy in the next year, whether economy will be fast growing, or it will be a moderate, or it will be a contracting. Okay, see, if I invest in stocks, and in next financial year, if economy grows very rapidly, then obviously I'll get best return. On the contrary, if economy contracted, then and if I invest in the stocks, then I may get a negative returns, right? So the my decision or the consequences of a decision maker largely depend on the states of nature. Okay. So, before discussing various criteria to take a decision, first we'll define some terminologies related with the decision theory. Okay. Now, the first terminology is a decision maker. Now, who is decision maker? Basically, a decision maker is a person who has a responsibility of making the decisions. Okay, that is, a decision maker has to select one course of action from the set of possible courses of action. Now, second important term associated with decision theory is the act. or the course of action. Basically the acts or actions or courses of actions are the alternative of strategies that are available to the decision maker. Now, decision making involves selection of one act or one course of action among two or more alternative courses of action. Okay. Now, the third concept that we're going to, third concept associated with decision theory is event. Events are also called as states of nature or outcomes. Okay. Now, the events basically the set of events constitute mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive set of outcomes. For example, in our case, economy, types of economy, whether it is fast growing, moderately growing, or negative, then these are three possible outcomes. Economy cannot be fast growing as well as moderately growing simultaneously. It is either fast growing or moderately growing or negative, right? So the outcomes or events are mutually exclusive. Further, there are only three possibilities: fast growing economy, moderately growing economy, or negatively growing economy. So the set of events or different outcomes are collectively exhaustive. So basically, the event constitutes mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive set of outcomes. Okay. Now, the events describes the possible behavior of environment. Okay, means how your economy will grow, whether it will grow rapidly or moderately or it will contract. Okay, so events basically describes the possible behavior of environment, and these behaviors are beyond the control of the decision maker. Decision maker cannot decide whether economy will grow rapidly or it will grow moderately or it will show a negative trend, right? Consider another example. Suppose a farmer wants to decide which crop he should take in the coming season. Okay. Now, let's suppose that there are three different options in front of him. One is he can go for wheat crop, or maybe cotton, maybe a sugarcane. Okay. So these three different options are available. Now, the yield of crops depends on the rainfall, right? So here, three courses of action or three acts are available. We can choose wheat crop or cotton crop or sugarcane, right? So these three are different courses of action, out of which he has to choose one, right? And the states of nature यहाँ पे क्या होंगे? The rainfall. There may be a heavy rainfall or average rainfall or low rainfall. Now, the rainfall is beyond the control of the decision maker or beyond the control of a farmer, right? So, the events or states of nature, basically these are environmental factors, and are beyond the control of the decision maker, right? Further, the outcomes for any combination of action and event may be different. For example, if a farmer has decided to go for a wheat crop, okay, and if there is a low rainfall, then the yield of that particular decision may be very less. Whereas uh, if there is a high rainfall and the decision maker decided to go for cotton crop, okay, then the yield of cotton crop in the event of high rainfall may be less, okay, because we know the cotton crop require very less amounts of water, whereas sugar cane requires high amount of water, right? So the outcomes of combination of a decision and event are different. Now, these outcomes are called as payoffs. So basically, payoff represents the revenue or cost associated with any course of action and the respective states of nature. Now, if a decision maker has three alternative courses of action available in front of him, and there are four states of nature, okay, then how many combinations will be there? There will be 3, 4 are 12, 12 different combinations. Okay, and for each of these 12 different combinations, the payoffs will be different. Okay. Now, if we represent these payoffs in a rectangular array or rectangular table, two-way table, then that table is called as payoff table or payoff matrix. Okay. So basically, payoff क्या होता है? Payoff represent the gain or loss or revenue or cost associated with a particular course of action and the corresponding state of nature or corresponding event. So if there are three courses of action and four states of nature, then there would be 3 4 are 12 different combinations, and for each combination the payoff would be different, right? So if we represent this payoff in a matrix form or table form, then we get a payoff table or payoff matrix, right? Now this matrix is used to determine, see, there are different criteria to determine which decision is to be selected. Okay, and the payoff matrix or payoff table is used to determine which decision is to be taken. Okay. Now, there are different types of decision making situations. First, first decision making situation is decision making under certainty. Basically, what is decision making? Decision making is the selection of one course of action amongst the different available courses of actions, right? Now, the first situation is decision making under certainty. Fine. Now, if basically states of nature are beyond the control of the decision maker, and the outcome of the decision or consequences of the decisions are largely depend on the states of nature or events. But if in advance decision maker uh, know with certainty about the state of nature, suppose a farmer knows before cultivating any particular crop, if he knows in advance about the rainfall, we know with certainty that rainfall in the coming season would be very high. Then instead of going for cotton crop, he will go for sugarcane crop, right? So here, or investment problem may suppose in advance, I know that in coming financial year, uh, economy will grow rapidly, right? So instead of investing my amount in bonds, I'll invest in stocks, right? Hmm. So this type of decision or this type of situation is called as the decision making under certainty. So if decision maker know in advance that to certainly about the upcoming states of nature, then decision making under this situation is very easy, right? Because हमें obviously पता है कि क्या होने वाला है, so it is, so the choice became obvious, right? So we will not focus on any criteria related with the decision making under certainty, because in fact there is no criteria. So obviously you will select a best course of action related with that particular state of nature, right? The second situation is decision making under uncertainty. In most of the cases, the decision maker cannot predict the future, okay, with certainty. So the decision making under this situation is called as decision making under uncertainty. In this subject, we are going to discuss 5 different criterias uh, for decision making under uncertainty. Okay, that we will discuss in detail one by one. The third situation is decision making under risk. Now, the difference between second situation and third situation is uh, decision maker can, in both the situation, decision maker cannot predict the future. Okay. But in third situation, uh, with the previous knowledge about the environment, decision maker can assign probability of occurrences of different states of nature. Okay. For example, let's discuss the case of investors problem. Okay. There are 3 types of states of nature: growing economy, moderately growing economy, and negative economy. Right. So, if decision maker is able to assign probabilities. So, for example, if decision maker, with the help of past experience, decision maker can predict that there are 40% chances of rapidly growing economy, 30% chances of moderately growing economy, and remaining 30% chances of negative economy. Okay. So, in this situation, with the help of probability, decision maker can take decisions, right? So the decision making under this situation is called as decision making under risk. Okay. In second situation, decision maker cannot predict the future, and he cannot assign, because previous data, due to non-availability of any previous data, or even if the previous data is available but the reliability is at stake, then you cannot assign probabilities to the occurrences of different events. So that is called as decision making under uncertainty. And fourth is decision making under conflict. Okay. Now, up till now, we have discussed the situations in which only decision maker is taking a decision. There are states of nature, but the occurrence of event or occurrence of states of nature is not dependent on the decision taken by a decision maker, right? Hmm. But in some situations, when two or more parties are involved in a conflicting situation, okay, for example, uh, if a manager has decided to reduce or to offer some discount on their product. Okay, uh, uh, by introducing some discount offer, he is aiming to generate more footfall or more sell. Okay, but suppose आपका कोई competitor है, the competitor of that particular business may also reduce or may also uh, offer discount on his product. Okay. So here the competitor's action depends on the action of a decision maker, right? So this is called as decision making under conflict. Okay. So this, the decision making under conflict is also called as a theory of games. तो हम वो separately discuss करेंगे, right? There is a unit, there is one topic under this unit only, theory of games. So basically, theory of games is nothing but decision making under conflict, right? So today we'll focus on different criterias uh, in the situation of uncertainty, or different criteria for decision making under uncertainty. Now, the first criteria is maximax criteria. Okay. Now the term maximax is derived from maximum of maximums. Now this is also called as optimistic approach. Maximax criteria is an optimistic approach. Fine. Now this approach is generally adopted by an adventurous and aggressive decision maker, and its resulted in maximum possible payoffs. Now, why this is called as optimistic approach? Because here the decision maker is very much optimistic about the states of nature. Okay. So he believes that no matter what decision he takes, he will always get a best possible outcome or best support from the nature. Okay. For example, let's consider this example wherein we have three courses of actions A1, A2, A3, and three states of nature, say S1, S2, and S3. Okay. Now, if decision maker takes or chooses A1, okay, then the outcome or payoffs depends on the states of nature. If the state of nature is S1, then the payoff or gain of the decision maker is 220 units. Okay. In case of S2 and S3, the gains are 180 and 100 respectively. Okay. But because their decision maker is 100% optimistic, so he will assume that if he takes decision A1, then his gain would be maximum. That is, uh, event S1 will occur, right? So his gain would be 220 units. Similarly, if he chooses second action or A2, then his gain would be maximum. Okay, that too in the event of occurrence of S2, that is 190. Okay, for A3 it would be 200. Okay, so in maximax criteria, what we'll do, see, maximax ये कहाँ से derived है? Maximax is derived from uh, the term maximum of maximums, right? So to decide which strategy or which action to be chosen, first we'll calculate row maximas. Okay. Now row maximas are 220, 190, and 200. Okay. So here 220 is the best payoff. So in this case, so or under this criteria, the course of action A1 is selected or chosen. Okay, simple logic है. So basically maximax criteria is optimistic criteria, and this criteria is usually adopted by aggressive decision maker or adventurous decision maker, right? So in this criteria, decision maker is very much optimistic about the state of nature. So he believes that no matter which decision he takes, he get a uh, best support from the nature. Okay. Second criteria is minimax criteria. It is opposite. It is opposite to the maximax criteria, right? But usually this criteria is used when the given payoff, the payoffs in the payoff table represent losses. Okay. For example, if say for example for combination of A1 S1, the loss is 20, right? So the objective of decision maker under this criteria is to minimize the maximum losses, right? Hmm? Simple logic. It is minimum of maximums, right? Minimum of maximums. So here the objective is to minimize the maximum losses. So basically this criteria is used when the payoff matrix or payoff table represent loss matrix. Correct? Now, so to take a decision, what we'll do, we'll calculate the row maxima, because here we want to minimize the maximum losses. So first we'll determine the maximum losses for or maximum losses associated with each course of action. Now the maximum loss associated with A1 is 22, that of A2 is 19, and A3 is 24. Now, remember, here the objective of decision maker is to minimize the maximum losses or to minimize the maximum cost. Okay, here payoff matrix may represent losses or cost. So obviously the objective is to minimize cost or losses. Fine. So if decision maker decides to go for minimax criteria, then which course of action he should opt? 22, 19, and 24. These are maximum losses or maximum cost. Okay. So out of these three, the minimum loss is 19. Okay. So under this criteria, the course of action A2 should be selected. Okay. Now this criteria, uh, if given payoff matrix, is a profit matrix or revenue matrix, then this criteria can be used with little modification. Okay. Uh, hope you must remember how we have converted uh, a loss cost matrix, profit matrix into loss matrix while solving maximization assignment problem or maximization transportation problem. Okay. There we used to calculate the relative loss. Okay. If a given matrix represent profit, then we convert it into relative loss matrix. Okay. Same logic will apply over here. So if the given matrix is a profit matrix or revenue matrix, then we convert it into a regret matrix. Okay. For example, see, this criteria is called as minimax regret criteria. Okay. So the objective of this criteria is to minimize the maximum regrets. Now the question arises, what is meant by a regret? Basically, regret is nothing but opportunity loss. Okay. Now, because we are taking a decision under uncertainty, right? Now let's suppose that a decision maker opted decision A2, right? And after the decision period or at the end of the decision period, he knows that the event S1 has occurred. Okay, then उसके मन में एक regret रहेगा, I should have taken decision A1, right? Because see, after happening of event S1, he understood that if he would have taken decision A1, then his gain would have been 220 units. Okay, but because he has taken decision A2, his gain is only 160. तो उसके मन में एक गिल्ट रहेगा और रिग्रेट रहेगा that he has lost an opportunity to gain additional 60 units, right? So this is called as a regret. So basically, Regret is what? Regret is the difference between best payoff and payoff received for any particular state of nature. Okay, जैसे S1 के केस में for state of nature S1 the best payoff is 220. Okay, so A1 S1 के लिए regret क्या होगा? 220 minus 220, that is 0. For A2 S1 regret would be 220 minus 60, that is 60. For A3 it would be 220 minus 140, that is 80, right? Similarly, see, अब यहाँ पे मैंने while calculating regret for first column, I have assumed that the event happened was S1. Okay, but necessarily S1 ही होगा. The event happened maybe S2. See, हम regret कब होगा हमें? After occurrence of state of nature, either S1 or S2 or S3. Now let's assume that रेनफॉल का पीरियड खत्म हो गया एंड उसके बाद फार्मर को पता चला कि अरे इस सीजन में बारिश बहुत कम हो गई है, राइट? देन उस केस में क्या होगा? थर्ड स्टेट ऑफ नेचर हैज अकर्ड, या मे बी रेनफॉल मॉडरेट हुआ होगा या मे बी हाई हुआ होगा. सो इफ वी एज्यूम दैट the event happened was S2, okay, then in that case the maximum payoff or best payoff is 190. Okay, so the regret for choosing or for opting decision A1, the regret would be 10. इसके लिए कितना होगा? 0, and for this it would be 20. Similarly, for third state of nature, the regrets would be maximum regret is 200. तो यहाँ पे होगा here regret would be 100, 20 and 0. Okay, so we'll get this type of regret table. Remember, जब हम while solving maximization assignment problem, we used to convert the matrix, given profit matrix into relative loss matrix. In that case, we choose maximum value from the entire table. Okay, and so we'll set that value as a benchmark. Okay. So with that benchmark, we'll find the relative losses for each combination. But here, while calculating regrets, we focus on columns one by one. Okay. जैसे यहाँ पे in first column, maximum payoff or best payoff is 220. So we'll consider this 220 as a benchmark score for this particular column, right? Similarly, benchmark score for second column is 190 and benchmark score for third column is 200, right? So with the help of these benchmark score, we'll calculate regrets for each column or each cell in that particular column, right? Now here, remember, the objective is to minimize maximum regrets, right? So we'll calculate row maxima. The row maxima for A1 is 100, that for A2 is 60, and that for A3 is 80. Okay, and the minimum among this is 60. So under this criteria, the decision A2 is chosen. Got it? Hope this concept is clear to you. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir. No,
okay. Okay. So we'll proceed further. So we'll move to third criteria. It is maximum criteria. This criteria is usually adopted by pessimistic by a decision maker with pessimistic approach. Okay. Now the objective, as name indicates, the objective of this criteria is to maximize the minimum gain. Pessimistic है ना approach. So यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Approach क्या होगा इसका decision maker का? See, for example, if decision maker takes decision A1, okay. So the person with pessimistic approach always think about the worst event. Okay. So if he thinks that event S3 will occur, okay, then his payoff would be 100. Similarly, the worst payoff for action A2 is 160. Okay. Worst payoff for action A3 is 140. Right. So under this criteria, what will calculate? First, will determine the worst payoff for each decisions. Okay. And now the role of decision maker is to choose best among the worst. Right. So this is a maximum criteria or pessimistic approach. So in this approach, first will determine rho minimas, and then from title यहाँ पे rho maxima लिखा है. From the rho minima, will choose the action associated with the maximum rho minimum. Okay. Now here एक just a minute, कुछ तो भी गड़बड़ हो गया यहाँ पे 170 फिगर चाहिए, सॉरी 140. ओके, यहाँ पे टेबल थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हो गया, राइट. So row minima for first row is 100, row minima for second row is 160, and that for third row is 140. So यहाँ पे action A2, okay, we should choose action A2, right? Maximum among minimas, right? So कौन सा action यहाँ पे choose करना है? Action A2 should be chosen, right? Now the fourth criteria is called as Hurwitz alpha criteria. See, in Maximax criteria, the optimistic approach is used, okay, while the maximum criteria, pessimistic approach is used. Okay, means in Maximax criteria, the decision maker is 100% optimistic, while in maximum criteria, the decision maker is 100% pessimistic. Okay, but in reality, no person is 100% optimistic and no person is 100% pessimistic. Okay, the degree of pessimism or degree of optimism varies between 0% to 100%. Right? Suppose a person is say 40% optimistic. Okay, so it means that he is 60% pessimistic. Okay, or if the person is 30% optimistic and 70% optimistic and 30% pessimistic. So if the degree of optimism is more, it means that the decision maker is more aggressive, right? So decision maker का aggression is directly proportional to the degree of optimism. Fine. See, अगर वो 100% optimistic है, so obviously he will choose the best possible action. He will assume that for every action he will get the best result. Whereas if the person is 100% pessimistic, then for each action he will assume that he will get the worst possible payoff. Okay, but the payoff आपका vary हो रहा है. So if we assume that, or let's suppose that the best payoff is 100 and worst payoff is say 50, right? So if the person is neither 100% optimistic nor 100% pessimistic, then he may expect a payoff somewhere between 50 and 100, right? So वो क्या करें? See, 50 is minimum. and 100 is the maximum. So obviously the payoff would be somewhere between 100 and 50. Right? Now the question arises how to calculate the payoff, or how to estimate the payoff if the person is neither 100% optimistic nor 100% pessimistic. Okay. So हम क्या करें? We used to assign some degree of pessimism or degree of optimism, and that is denoted, degree of optimism is denoted by alpha. Okay, so if alpha is the degree of optimism, let it be 0.6. Okay, see, percent में हम represent 60% optimism is equivalent to 0.6, because percentage basically क्या होता है? It is a fraction, 60 upon 100, ना, right? So 60% is the degree of optimism, means what? The alpha value is 0.6. So the degree of pessimism would be 0.4, 1 minus alpha. Okay. Now capital MI, that is the maximum payoff for any particular course of action, represent 100% pessimistic approach, and small mi, that is the worst payoff, represent 100% pessimistic approach. But आपका ये दोनों के बीच में है, so what we'll do, we'll multiply alpha, we multiply mi by alpha and small mi by 1 minus alpha, the degree of pessimism, right? And then we'll find the value of di value for each course of action with the help of this formula, alpha into capital Mi plus 1 minus alpha into small mi, where capital Mi is the best payoff for our best payoff associated with any action, and small mi is the worst payoff associated with the same action, right? For example, for decision A1, the best payoff is 120 and worst payoff is 100. So here capital M is 220 and small m is 110. Right? To take a decision under Hurwitz alpha criteria, first we'll calculate DI values for each decision or for each course of action, and then we'll choose a decision associated with the maximum DI value. Okay. So यहाँ पे row maxima is 220, 190 and 200 for A1, A2, A3 respectively. Row minimas are 100, 160, 140 respectively. So DI value क्या होगी? DI value for first action would be 220 into 0.6. Here I am assuming that alpha is 0.6, right? So for alpha equal to 0.6, the DI values are 0.6 into 220 plus 0.4 into 100, and it comes out to be 172. Similarly, for action A2, 0.6 into 190 plus 0.4 into 160 gives 178, and for A3 we get 176. Okay. So under Hurwitz alpha criteria, the maximum DI value is 178. That is for action A2. So under this criteria, action A2 is chosen. Right? Concept clear हो गया? See, जो first criteria हमने discuss किया था, maximax criteria, it is optimistic approach के लिए. Okay? And maximum criteria is a pessimistic approach. ये दो extreme approaches है, right? But reality, so Hurwitz criteria is also called as realistic approach. Okay, maximax is optimistic approach, maximin is pessimistic approach, and Hurwitz is a realistic approach. Okay, so here we are giving due consideration to only two payoffs. One is maximum payoff and second is minimum payoff. Right. So on the basis of these two, and on the basis of the degree of optimism, that is alpha value, will calculate di value for each action, and we choose action associated with maximum di value. Right? Logic simple hai. Next criteria, fifth and last criteria under the decision making under uncertainty is called as Laplace criteria. See, the third situation is decision making under risk. Okay. In decision making under risk, decision maker, with the help of the past experience, decision maker is able to assign some probability values to the outcomes or different states of nature. But in uncertainty, decision maker is not able to assign probabilities to the states of nature. So in this situation, decision maker may take or may make a simple assumption. Okay, he may assume that all states of nature are equally likely. Okay, it means that there are equal chances of occurrence of each state of nature. For example, here he can assign probability 1 by 3 to S1, 1 by 3 to S3, and 1 by 3 to 1 by 3 to S1, S2, and S3 respectively. Okay, fine. So with the help of these probabilities, decision maker can calculate the expected payoffs. Okay, so basically mathematical expectation कैसे निकालते? If x1, x2, x3, etc. are the different values assumed by your random variable, and p1, p2, p3 are the probabilities given by probability mass function, then mathematical expectation is calculated as x1 into p1 plus x2 into p2 plus x3 into p3. Okay, so here the expected payoff would be probability associated with S1 is 1 by 3. 1 by 3 into 120 plus 1 by 3 into 180 plus 1 by 3 into 100. So basically it is 220 plus 180 plus 100 and whole divided by 3. So basically mathematical expectation gives the average or the arithmetic mean. So in Laplace criteria, to decide which decision is to be taken, first we'll calculate average of payoffs for each course of action. So here average payoff for first course of action is 220 plus 180 plus 100 divided by 3, which is 172. Then 160 plus 190 plus 180 divided by 3 is 178, and 140 plus 170 plus 200 is 176. Okay. And among these average payoffs or expected payoffs, maximum payoff is 178. Okay, so under Laplace criteria, the decision A2 is chosen. Okay, so these are the 5 different criteria that are used to take decision under the situation of uncertainty. Okay, इसमें कोई डाउट है?
नो सर, नो सर.
देखो ज्यादा कुछ डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, सिंपल है. सिंपल आपको लॉजिक अप्लाई करना है यहाँ पे. ओके, फाइन. नाउ let's solve few more questions. I'll share my screen. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Word file मैं share कर रहा हूँ, दिख रहा है ना आपको?
Yes.
See,
Yes, sir.
here here decision maker is a farmer. A farmer wants to decide which of the three crops he should plant. The farmer has categorized the amount of rainfall as high, medium, and low. Okay. Estimated profits are given in the table. Estimated profit in rupees for crop A, crop B, crop C, and rainfall high, medium, low. Okay. The profits are 8,000, 3,500, etc. The farmer wishes to plant one crop. Decide the best crop using उसमें पहला Hurwitz alpha criteria where the coefficient of optimism is 0.6. Then Laplace criteria से क्या होगा, minimax security criteria से क्या होगा, right? See, while solving the problems related with the decision theory, it is very important to decide what is states of nature and what are the different alternatives. What are the states of nature? अब यहाँ पे states of nature क्या है? See, जब पीपीटी में मैंने जितने भी एग्जांपल डिस्कस किए थे, हाँ, देखो अब यहाँ पे टेबल का ओरिएंटेशन अपोजिट है, राइट? Whatever examples I have discussed in the PPT have states of nature in columns, okay, and alternatives in rows. अब यहाँ पे उल्टा है, डिसीजन मेकर के हाथ में क्या है? यहाँ पे स्टेट ऑफ नेचर क्या है? रेनफॉल हाई, मीडियम, लो. इट इज नॉट in control of a decision maker. Here decision maker is a farmer, right? What is in hand? Crops. He can go for crop A, crop B, or crop C, right? So here the actions are crop A, crop B, and crop C, and state of nature are rainfall high, medium, low. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे ओरिएंटेशन अपोजिट है. तो बी केयरफुल while solving the problem. आप अगर प्रैक्टिस रो वाइज कर रहे हो तो आपको प्रॉब्लम चेंज करना पड़ेगा, राइट? जैसे पीपीटी में मैंने क्या डिस्कस किया था, यहाँ पे मैंने लिए थे आपके एक्शंस, राइट? एंड हियर आई हैव टेकन द स्टेट्स ऑफ नेचर. अब यहाँ पे ओरिएंटेशन एग्जैक्टली अपोजिट हो गया है, राइट? सो अब यहाँ पे मुझे क्या करना है? हर्विट्ज अल्फा क्राइटेरिया यूज करना है. तो एक काम करते हैं, आई विल कॉपी दिस टेबल इन एमएस एक्सेल. ओपन एक्सेल फाइल. आपको मैन्युअली कैलकुलेशन करना पड़ेगा. हम यहाँ पे फॉर डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन पर्पस आई एम यूजिंग एमएस एक्सेल. इसका ओरिएंटेशन चेंज कर लेता हूँ. ओके, फाइन. Okay. Now here we have three courses of action: crop A, crop B, crop C, and these are the states of nature, right? Fine. पहला क्या है? First is decide the best crop using Hurwitz alpha criteria. The coefficient of optimism is 0.6. Okay. So first we'll calculate row maxima, then row minima. Maxima of this. Okay. Fine. Fine. So row maximas are 8,000, 5,000, 5,000, and row minimas are 2,000, 3,500, and 4,000 respectively. Okay. Now, what are the DI values? The degree of optimism or the coefficient of optimism is 0.6. This is your alpha value, right? So, what would be the DI value? See, DI value is 0.6 or alpha into capital MI plus 1 minus alpha into small mi. Okay. So, DI must be 0.6 multiplied by 8,000 plus 1 minus alpha. Alpha value is 0.6, so 1 minus alpha must be 0.4 into rho minimum. So DI value for crop A is 5,600 and that for crop B and crop C are 4,400 and 4,600 respectively. Okay. तो डिसीजन क्या लेना है यहाँ पे?
5,600 maximum.
5,600 maximum. Okay. So according to Harvig's alpha criteria, crop A should be cultivated. Okay. अब दूसरा criteria क्या है यहाँ पे? So farmer should plant crop A. Then third is second is Laplace criteria. Okay. So Laplace criteria के लिए हम क्या करते हैं? For Laplace criteria, we used to take average of the payoffs. Okay. So Excel में ये benefit है. Predefined functions are available in MS Excel, so I'm using those functions. But आपको ये calculation manually करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? So these are the average payoffs. Average payoffs are 4833, 4333, and 4633 respectively. Okay. So here also the maximum average payoff or maximum expected payoff is 4833. Okay. So according to Laplace criteria, the farmer should go for plant A. Then next is minimax regret criteria. Fine. I'll copy this table again. Okay. Now, in the event of occurrence of high rainfall, the best payoff is 8,000. Okay. So for this column, we'll set 8,000 as a benchmark score, right? So regrets क्या होंगे? Regret table. So 8,000 minus 8,000 is 0. 8,000 minus 3,500 is 4,500. यहाँ पे होगा 3,000. Okay. Now in this case, what would be the regret? Benchmark score क्या लेना है?
4,900.
Maximum payoff is 4,900. So we'll set 4,900 as the benchmark score. So regrets हो गया आपके 400, 400, 0. In this case, maximum regret is 5,000. Sorry, maximum payoff is 5,000. So regret होगा 3,000, 0, and 1,000. Okay. Once regrets are calculated, उसके बाद क्या करना है? Yes, maximum regret. So the objective is to minimize the maximum regrets. The maximum regrets are 3,000, 4,000,
550.
and 3,000. अब यहाँ पे देखो दो for crop A as well as for crop C, the regrets are minimum. Okay, तो यहाँ पे tie हो रहा है. Okay, so there is a tie among the minimum minimum among maximum regrets, right? So he can go for crop A under this criteria, minimax regret criteria. He can go for either crop A or crop C. दोनों केस में उसके आउटकम सेम हो सकते हैं, राइट? ठीक है. So this example is over. Fine. Next example. ट्राई करोगे आप?
Yes, we can try some.
सिंपल है, यहाँ पे इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. एक काम करे.
इक्वल प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या होता है? मतलब व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दैट?
इक्वली प्रोबेबल. जब हम प्रोबेबिलिटी में देखें ना, see if outcomes are equally likely, जैसे tossing of a coin, tossing of a fair coin, right? So there are equal chances of getting head and equal chances of getting tail. Okay, तो probabilities हो गई equal. Okay, कहाँ पे equal probability चाहिए?
सेकंड में
equal probability. equal probability मतलब
यहाँ पे कैसे यूज करना वो?
Laplace criteria.
ओके.
देखो Laplace criteria का assumption
एवरेज है.
हाँ, एवरेज जब लेते हैं मतलब इक्वल प्रोबेबिलिटी. हाँ, ओके, गुड क्वेश्चन. एक्चुअली हाँ, ऐसे पूछ सकते हैं. इक्वल प्रोबेबिलिटी मतलब यहाँ पे आपको एक्चुअली लैप्लास क्राइटेरिया अप्लाई करना है, राइट? ठीक है. हाँ, अब यहाँ पे इन क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 आपके स्टेट्स ऑफ नेचर क्या है? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है यहाँ पे. स्टेट ऑफ नेचर क्या है? डिमांड इज अ स्टेट ऑफ नेचर. यू कैन नॉट प्रेडिक्ट डिमांड, राइट? एंड ये डिसीजंस है. प्लांट का एक्सपेंशन, लार्ज एक्सपेंशन करना है, स्मॉल एक्सपेंशन करना है, या नो एक्सपेंशन, राइट? तो दीज आर द डिसीजंस. इनफैक्ट टेबल से भी आपको कुछ आइडिया मिल जाएगी. यहाँ पे हेडिंग दिया है डिसीजन अल्टरनेटिव्स. सो दीज आर द कोर्सेज ऑफ एक्शन एंड these four are states of nature. Okay, sometimes state of nature is also called as event. जैसे क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 में यहाँ पे इवेंट दिख रहा है आपको. ठीक है, मतलब ए बी सी डी दीज आर स्टेट्स ऑफ नेचर एंड 1 2 3 आर एक्ट्स. यहाँ पे अल्फा की वैल्यू है 0.55. ओके, ठीक है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 में भी सिमिलर है. अब यहाँ पे इन क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 payoff matrix is not given, right? So to solve this problem, first we have to create a payoff matrix. See, in this question it is given that a small ink manufacturer produces a certain type of ink at a total average cost of rupees 3 per bottle and sells at a price of rupees 5 per bottle. Okay, the ink is produced over the weekend and is sold during the following week. According to the experience, the weekly demand has never been less than 78 and greater than 80 bottles in his place, which formulate the payoff table and determine how many bottles he should produce according to Maximax criteria. Okay, according to different criteria. So here first we have to generate payoff table. Okay, I'm going to open new sheet. Okay, now यहाँ पे state of nature क्या होंगे? State of nature is nothing but demand. Okay, now past experience shows that the demand is never less than 78. Okay, never been less than 78 and greater than 80 bottles, right? So demand varies from 78 to 80. Okay. So demand may be 78, 79 and 80. Okay, so these are the states of nature. Now the who is decision maker over here? Ink manufacturer, right? Ink manufacturer is a decision maker. So what courses of action he is having in front of him? He can produce 78 bottles or 79 bottles or 80 bottles. Okay. See, it is illogical to manufacture less than 78 bottles or more than 80 bottles. Correct, na? So 78 मैन्युफैक्चर करेगा या 79 मैन्युफैक्चर करेगा, 80 मैन्युफैक्चर करेगा. ओके, सो ये क्या हो गया? These are acts. Fine. Okay. Fine. Right. So what would be the payout? Payout कितना होगा? See, if he manufactures 78 bottles, right? So, see, payout for each bottle is how much? Cost of manufacturing is 3 rupees and selling price is 5 rupees. Okay, so here if we manufacture 78 bottles and if demand is 78, then he will be able to sell off all the bottles, correct? तो 78 के 78 वो सेल करेगा. तो इसका प्रॉफिट कितना होगा? 2 पर बॉटल का प्रॉफिट है, तो प्रॉफिट होगा इसका 78 into 2, right? If we manufacture 78 and demand is 79, तो क्या होगा? See, though demand is more, but he is having only 78 bottles to sell off. Okay? So he will be able to sell only 78 bottles, right? So इस केस में भी उसका प्रॉफिट कितना होगा और पे ऑफ होगा 155. Similarly, if demand is 80, his payoff would be 156. Okay. हाँ, इस केस में क्या होगा? If he manufactures 79 bottles and demand is only 78, what would be payoff? Will it be 79 to 2?
78 into 2 होगा, because
नहीं. See, in this case, his cost of, okay, he will be able to 78. Okay,
-3 करना पड़ेगा.
78 multiplied by 5 is revenue minus he is manufacturing 79 bottles. Okay, total cost of manufacturing is 79. Sorry, 79 into 3, right? और ये देखो वो क्या कितने प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है? 79 into 3. and he is able to sell off only 78. Okay. So the revenue generated would be 78 into 5 minus, so the profit would be total revenue generated minus total cost of production. So that would be 153. So यहाँ पे आ जाएगा 153. What about this? So see here, वो मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहा है 79 एंड सेल भी कर रहा है 79, राइट? सो यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा चेंज करता हूँ फॉर्मूला. इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग 79 एंड सेलिंग 79. सो कॉस्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू जनरेट होगा उसका 79 into 5 minus cost of production is 79 into 3. So this comes out to be 158. Okay. Here same hoga because he has only 79 bottles to sell, so he will be able to sell all 179. In this case, अब यहाँ पे देखो वो मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहा है 80 बट सेल कितना कर रहा है ओनली 78. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होगा उसका 80 का. So payoff in this case would be 150. In this case it would be 155, and in this case it would be 160. यहाँ पे मैं कर देता हूँ. Okay. So these are the payoffs. Right. अब एक बार payoff मैट्रिक्स आपने जनरेट किया, then you can use any criteria to make a decision. Okay. यहाँ पे क्या कौन से क्राइटेरिया यूज करने हैं? मैक्सिमैक्स क्राइटेरिया, मिनिमैक्स यूनिट क्राइटेरिया, हर्विस क्राइटेरिया विथ अल्फा इक्वल टू 0.7 एंड लैप्लास क्राइटेरिया. ओके. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 भी सिमिलर है. यहाँ पे एक और पैरामीटर है. जैसे इस क्वेश्चन में क्या था, ओनली सेलिंग प्राइस एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट, दो ही चीज हम कंसिडर कर रहे हैं. यहाँ पे प्रोक्योरमेंट कॉस्ट इज गिवन, सेलिंग कॉस्ट इज गिवन. प्रोक्योरमेंट कॉस्ट कितना है 80 रुपीज. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 आई एम डिस्कसिंग. परचेस कॉस्ट इज 80 रुपीज, सेलिंग प्राइस इज 100 रुपीज. ओके. एंड स्क्रैप वैल्यू और सैल्वेज वैल्यू इज ऑल्सो गिवन. देखो अभी टैक्स बुक है, टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर हर बार चेंज हो रहा है हर साल. तो जो बुक अनसोल्ड है, okay, so the unsold books will be sold at rupees 30 per copy, right? So you have to consider these three factors to generate payoff matrix, right? अब यहाँ पे डिमांड कितना है? डिमांड इज वेरिंग फ्रॉम 25 to 30 कॉपीज. okay. तो मैं ये चेंज करता हूँ. डिमांड 25, 26, 30. okay. And डिसीजन क्या लेना है? क्या लेना है? How many textbooks to be ordered? Okay. Fine. Now, in this case, okay. In this case, what would be the payoff? Payoff क्या होगा? Suppose bookseller ordered 25 books and demand for books is also 25. So he will be able to sell off all 25 books. So in this case, your payoff would be 25. Okay, this is the number of books. Sorry, multiplied by selling price is 100 rupees minus ordering cost. 25 books he has ordered at a price of or at a cost of 80 per book. Okay. So in this case his payoff would be 500. Okay. यहाँ पे भी actually 500 ही होगा because though demand is more but he has only 25 copies to sell. Okay, so his profit would be 500 in this case as well. Okay. अब यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा कैलकुलेशन क्रिटिकल है. Okay. Why critical? Because for this particular sale, the bookseller has ordered 26 books and he is able to sell off only 25 out of those 26. Okay, तो एक कॉपी उसके पास बच जाएगी, राइट? सो यहाँ पे क्या होगा? रेवेन्यू जनरेट होगा 25 into 100 माइनस कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोक्यूरमेंट कितना हो जाएगा? 10 into 80. ओके, एंड जो अनसोल्ड कॉपी है is able to sell unsold copy at a price of 30 rupees. Okay, तो unsold copy कितना है? 26 minus 25. Use formula. Into 30. Okay, तो इस केस में उसका पे ऑफ कितना हो रहा है? 450, right? Fine. Now अब मैं क्या करूँ? I will simply just D4. Okay, so I have to dollar sign. Okay, that's it. See, now in this case, if he orders 30 books and is able to sell only 25 copies, तो उसका पे ऑफ क्या होगा? 25 into 100, right? Minus 30 into 80 plus he will sell 5 unsold copies at rate of 30 rupees. So ये formula here I have applied formula in MS Excel to generate payoffs, right? Similarly, you can generate payoff for other combinations and then use this table to make a decision. Okay, according to different criteria. ये हो पाएगा? Yes. कर पाओगे या नहीं?
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा सा मैनुअल कैलकुलेशन है. मैनुअल कैलकुलेशन है. I can, while demonstrating, I can use MS Excel, but in exam you cannot use MS Excel, right? So you have to do manual calculations to generate this table. Okay. And once payoff matrix is generated, you can apply any criteria to make a decision, right? So here states of nature are demands that varies from 25 to 30, and decision making क्या करना है? How many books to be ordered? 25 books order करने या 26 करने, 27 करने या 30 करने, right? So these are the acts and these are the states of nature. Fine. Okay. Any doubt?
No, sir.
ठीक है, ट्राई कर लो. एक काम करते हैं, बाय टुमारो आई विल प्रिपेयर इस पर्टिकुलर एग्जांपल के लिए मैं पे ऑफ मैट्रिक्स प्रिपेयर करूंगा. कल हम डिस्कस करेंगे इन अ क्विक टाइम एंड देन विल मूव टू second situation, that is decision making under certainty. Fine.
ठीक है
Okay, sir.
Tomorrow we'll close this topic.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
ओके
Thank you, sir.